And we are looking at the local yellow dwarf here. Welcome to the daily space weather, folks. Checking out the 304 angstroms view here. A lot of filamentary activity going on there on the northeast limb as well as the northwest limb. And it looks like some activity is rising. And from the way the magnetograms look, it appears that the North Pole, that's the North Solar Polar Field, is gaining intensity. Here's a view in 171 angstroms. And let's see if that North Pole coronal hole does indeed begin to shrink. And keep an eye out for crown prominences. Now, there is some ejecta, which we reported on yesterday, and we'll show you that after we look at the coronagraphs. Here's the LASCO C2. And there does not appear to be any significant Earth-facing coronal mass ejection material. Here's the view from Stereo A's coronagraph. And there is some ejecta coming out here yesterday. Let me rock that back for you. See right there, there's a coronal mass ejection that happens. Doesn't look like it's Earth-facing, but it's in the vicinity. And let's move on. To talk about how to support the channel. Please support the channel via Patreon. Don't join at the $1 level. That level's gone come the 31st of October, Halloween. Join at the $9.99 level and receive our critical updates before everybody else. You can also donate on PayPal. Or if you'd like to purchase some CBD products, check out the Hemp Lucid Spaced Out campaign specifically formulated for our spaced out viewers. Links in the description below the video to all of these sites. Remember, please support the channel because YouTube pays us precisely $0 for these videos. And looking at the real-time solar wind, we see a fluctuating solar wind speed currently around 500 kilometers per second, but all over the place over the last few hours. Solar wind density very low, solar minimum conditions there, 1.38 protons per cubic centimeter. And the phi angle is right around 180 degrees. Check it out. Also, we see the BZ has just dropped into negative territory, indicating influence in the southern solar polar field. Charging the current sheet right now, and there is a bit of a battle going on. We'll show you in a minute. And there's the ACE data looking pretty corroborative. I took the liberty of drawing in the 10.7 centimeter radial flux line here at 70, just to show you what solar minimum is like, as we've been dipping above and below this line the past few days. 10.7 centimeter radial flux currently at 68, still above predicted values, but still low. Let's talk about National Prepping Month, which is September. And David Dubine's new book, Climate Revolution. Let's talk about the best crops for optimal yield and nutrition. In times of food scarcity, one should grow the crops that require the least effort and provide the most nutritional value. There's a list of the cereals, things like corn, sorghum, small grains, wheat, barley, oats, rice, pseudo-cereals like buckwheat, amaranth, quinoa. So check out the book, Climate Revolution. We'll link to it below the video. Via the oilseedcrops.org link. Shout out David Devine. We are trying to get you for an interview soon. Please drop us a line. KP index down to 1. It went from 3 to 0 and back to 3 yesterday. An interesting progression of the planetary KP index. Next, we're going to look at magnetosphere movies. First, the density, which is quite low, shown in light colors. As Earth's magnetosphere maintains a high-density shell around your planet, facilitating your existence. Anyway, there's the density. Next we'll look at the pressure, which is very low, no surprise there. As the solar minimum drags on and on. And that's your 4 hours of magnetosphere data. Next, we'll look at the global geospace magnetic perturbations before we head on to the ionosphere. And we're not seeing very many perturbations there. Although there is a Birkeland current going in and out of both ends of your planet. In fact, there are likely 2 of them going in the north portion, as we have 2 north poles. Here's the ionosphere movies. This is the past 6 hours, and the ionosphere is wobbling all over the place. It's looking anomalous on both the sun-facing side as well as the night side. Let's look at the latest image. All over the place. Very anomalous ionosphere today. And it's looking it's looking weird all the way around. I'm not going to say anymore. We see some anomalies here in the X-ray flux too. This has been flatlined. We haven't even seen a B-class flare since July 7th. So some oddities going on all around. There's the electron flux, not quite at such high levels, and the charging hazards have been minimized to next to nothing. Here's where stuff is in the solar system. And there's where it'll be in 1 week. Just coming off of the full moon. We see the relativistic electrons at the greater than 2 mega electron volt level have dropped down. And again, we did see the highest levels in a year just a few days ago, creating massive GPS errors. Here's the GOES magnetometer, and it's pretty spiky as there is a battle between the solar polar fields going on. I'm trying to figure out who's charging the current sheet. Allow me to demonstrate. And you can see this is all over the place. The North Pole looks like it's gaining strength from this. I'll let that play through a second time here, starting now. And we'll bring up the last image here so you can see that the North Pole is trying to charge up the current sheet there, folks. So this is something to keep an eye on throughout the day. And when I say ion, the pun is intentional. Here's where stuff is above my head. Where will you be when Cygnus sets? Looks like Deneb is going to set at about 8 a.m. my time. And I am located in eastern Pennsylvania, if you weren't wondering. Oh, and also, if you weren't aware, there's a massive pileup going on in the sky every day. We've got Mars. We've got the Sun. We've got Mercury. And we've got Venus. It's a planetary pileup in the solar system, folks. Don't worry, it's not going to be a Velikovsky novel. Earthquake rundown. This is about 20 hours ago. We see a 4.1 in Mexico, followed by a 4.4 in Chile. 4.9 in the Philippines. We're only doing 4+ magnitude quakes, folks. 4.9 in the Philippines. That one is at depth. Heads up, Philippines. We are experiencing a 7 magnitude earthquake drought. 5.5 at Venezuela. 4.3 at New Zealand. That one is at depth. Let's take a look at the location of that one. Right in the middle of the North Island. This one northwest of Lake Taupo. Please leave a comment if you felt that quake. I don't know how many times I got to click it for it to work, folks. I hate the software. 4.6 at the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. As we've seen an uptick there in recent years. Here's a deep quake at Chile, a 4.0 magnitude at 119 kilometers. And a 5.4 located out in the Aleutian chain there. That's south of the islands in a rift zone. Look it up if you like. 4.4 at Ecuador, that one also at depth. Some of the best quinoa and cocaine growing areas of the world. How about a 4.0 off the coast of Oregon? And no, I'm not worried about a blob of hot water on the surface. Although salmon don't like it. Now, here we see an oddity, a 4.6 at Nevada. Here's a location of that one. Located just north of the Monitor Valley. Please leave a comment if you felt that quake. And it looks like the largest quake of the past day occurred in the Philippines at a 5.6 magnitude. This one at 55 kilometers depth. And last but not least, a 4.3 at Greece. Volcano rundown includes some new volcanoes. Back on the list, Mount Aso, producing a 6,000 foot ash plume. Mount Semeru, back on the list, explosive activity there, 13,000 foot ash plume. Tucono, exploding, 6,000 foot ash plume. Popocatépetl has dissipated its ash. Revenador, 14,000 foot explosive activity plume continues. Sabancaya exploding, producing a 30,000 foot plume. Villarrica has had its alert level changed to orange, so if you're in central Chile, your exclusion zone is now 2 kilometers. And last but not least, Calpahue in Chile and Argentina must be on the border. Continuous ash emissions from there. Looks like a volcanic uptick to me. What do you think? Like sands through the hourglass of time, so is the data at the Himawari satellite. Check out the imagery. Thank you, Japan, for the Himawari satellite. Fantastic. I'm going to play it one more time. If you think the Earth is flat, well, there's this. So you may want to just look at this and moving on. Here are your weather warnings, and I would note some more freeze warnings in northern Maine, or frost advisories it looks like, as well as some flood watches in Montana. Check it out. And here are the jet streams in the western world. And here are the jet streams in the east. I have no comment, but there they are. Actually, I do have a comment. There's going to be some extremely cold air right under my pointer, as that air is coming straight north to south. Moving on. Check out lightningmaps.org the next time you hear thunder. Heads up Milwaukee. It looks like the storms are missing you to the south. Shout out to Mike Staklasa of Red Letter Media. If you don't know what Red Letter Media is, look it up on YouTube. If you haven't had a laugh today, check out the latest episode of Best of the Worst. You will have one. Now, I was very concerned about global warming, so I decided to head to windy.com and break out the snow depth map. So I took a look at Greenland, which we've been looking at all summer on this channel. Let's put down some posts. Oh my gosh, Greenland is melting. Greenland is melting. Look at that, folks. 0 inches of snow there. Over here, there's only 185.2 inches. Over here, there's more than 5 meters. Oh my gosh, see, it's proved. It's proven. Greenland is melting, folks. Look at, there's only 1/10 of an inch of snow there. There's 0 inches of snow here. Of course, down here, there's more than 5 meters. And up here, there's more than 5 meters. And Actually, the real reason we're here is to look at the weather data. The weather radar, just the radar. You know, we've pulled AccuWeather because they've grossified their Doppler radar images. We see some massive anomalies going on up here where there's partial coverage. You can see where the radar arrays end and begin. And if you're in these areas, that should give you some idea of what shall happen next. And finally, by the way, Windy.com has a great free mobile app. It could save your bacon. Here's the worldwide pressure map, and let's let that advance for about a day. This is the GFS model. And here's where things will be in approximately 24 hours. Here's the NASA GOES water vapor data. And we will zoom in on southern Wisconsin in just a moment. And there's a sped up version of that convergence zone. No real comment other than, hey, if you don't know when the rain's going to hit, the water vapor map is the key. If you're looking at a Doppler radar image and you can't figure out what's going to happen next, get out, find a water vapor map. It will give you insight as it will show you water vapor not yet condensed onto clouds. And thanks smAsho team for tuning in. One bonus feature coming up, as well as another video coming out soon. It's going to be Censored versus Sinkhole. And let's show you the standard view here of our local yellow dwarf at 94 angstroms. Let's hope that North Pole coronal hole does close and a North Pole solar field does intend and it does increase in its power. That's what we're hoping is happening. And so we're keeping a close eye on it so you don't have to. And we're showing you the data. So thanks again for tuning in, everybody. Remember, stare at the sun. Try to understand the physics. And when you're staring at the sun, don't drink it. If you drink, stare at the sun anyway. Just don't drive. We're stuck in this gray box, folks. We can't seem to escape. It's very, very difficult to escape this gray box. Anyway, we'll be back in a minute with the second video. And since it'll never be now again, may the solar wind be at your back and the atherosclerosis absent from your veins.